Rob Portman, just back from visiting Ukraine. Senator, thank you very much for your time. I'll get to what exactly is at stake here in just a moment. But having just returned from there, how would you assess the likelihood that Putin will invade Ukraine? Is it going to happen?
Well, Sandra, nobody knows, but I think it's much less likely if we do the right things. And one is to stay on message, to have a unified, consistent, very clear message that if he does make this terrible mistake, that the consequences will be devastating. One, with regard to sanctions. And the president has talked about that in the past. He talked about it again today as he cleaned up his remarks. It's important that we make it clear that this is not going to be the normal sanctions that Russia's figured out a way to get around, but it's going to be something that hits their economy, and particularly their energy sector hard, and individuals within the country who are responsible for making these decisions. Second, the military buildup is really important because the Russians need to know that if they try this, that they will have a dear cost to pay. And that will be a Ukrainian military that is far better trained than they were in 2014, has much better equipment, and are willing to fight. So my hope is that these things will keep this from happening by providing a deterrence. The talks are fine. I know they're ongoing, but the Russian talks, their goals in these talks are just not realistic at all. To say that NATO cannot accept new members, particularly Ukraine, it runs against everything that we know about NATO. They have an open door policy. It's not our decision. It's the decision of the people of Ukraine, and it's the decision of NATO. I also will tell you I'm concerned about keeping countries in the region together and on message, and I worry particularly about Germany and their unwillingness to say publicly that, of course, they would stop this new pipeline, Nord Stream 2 pipeline, should there be an invasion, and also not providing other countries with the ability to provide arms because they are NATO members. We've got to be sure that everybody's on board here to avoid the bloodshed, to avoid this terrible mistake from happening.
And I'm sure you'd tell me that Putin and Russia have a lot of leverage when it comes to energy and the fact that they've got oil and energy that Germany would need. Jackie Heinrich, our White House reporter, just had an exchange, and I believe we've got the pool tape now, where she asked the president a question specifically as it pertains to the possible invasion of Ukraine, and the answer is something. Watch.
Why are you waiting on Putin to make the first move, sir?
So we weren't able to put it up on the screen just yet because we just turned that. But I will tell you the exchange. Jackie Heinrich said she asked him, "Why are you waiting for Putin to make the first move, sir?" And as you've seen him, saw him smile and laugh at the end, he fired back, "What a stupid question." So to get your reaction to that.
Well, I hope what he means by that is that we are making moves in terms of providing unprecedented amount of military assistance, defensive military assistance to Ukraine. We certainly should be, and the president has just authorized another $200 million, which is good. And then second, that we are doing other things in the region to prepare for this possibility. One thing that has been very clear is that the cyber attacks last week were based from Russia. And clearly this is part of the Russian hybrid warfare, as they call it. So that's another area where we can help quite a bit. We have a cyber command. We have the ability to do a lot more in terms of cyber. I hope we're doing that. We're pushing for that. And then finally, letting the Russians know and Vladimir Putin know that if something should happen, we're going to build up our defenses, not just in Ukraine, of course, but in all those countries in the region, including the Baltics.
I've got to leave it there, Senator,
others.
but did he open the door with that minor incursion comment?
Yeah, that was a big mistake, and that's why I was glad to see today them clean up that language. But there's no such thing as a minor incursion. As President Zelensky of Ukraine said, in a small country, a minor incursion is an invasion.
And that was a big moment, and they've had to do a lot of walk back, a lot of cleanup this morning and throughout the day as a result of it. Can't take it back.
Absolutely.
Good to have you here, Senator. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for having me on.
Okay.
Take care.